to visit. I'm very happy to meet him to discuss the measures he refers to. But I would point out that energy prices are rising globally. That is a consequence of the coronavirus restrictions easing and demand coming back, together with other geopolitical factors. So I would put the points he raises in that global context.
Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, I wish to make a statement about the House practices regarding accusing members of lying or deliberately misleading the House. I recognise there are frustrations around the House's practices. Firstly, let me say that there are means by which accusations of lying may be brought before the House, including by means of a substantive motion. The Scottish National Party did so on their opposition day in November. However, members may not accuse each other of lying or deliberately misleading the House unless such a substantive motion is under consideration. Erskine May is clear that it is to preserve the character of parliamentary debate, which I take to mean to stop it descending into fruitless cycles of accusation and counter-accusation. May I also say that expressions when used in respect of the members, which are regarded with particular seriousness, generally leading to prompt intervention from the Chair and often a requirement on a member to withdraw the words, include charges uttering deliberate falsehoods. It is important to stress context. Similar words said in different proceedings might attract a different response from the Chair, depending on the subject being debated, tone and other considerations, but in general the Chair will not tolerate accusations of lying or deliberately misleading the House. That is the long-standing practice of the House, as set out in Erskine May and followed by successive speakers and deputy speakers. Of course, long-standing practices may change. For example, if the House decided it wanted a different approach, perhaps informed by the Procedure Committee inquiry, but it's not for me to change the practice unilaterally. Therefore, I ask members to respect this approach. I know feelings run high on important issues we discuss, but there are plenty of ways of making strong feelings felt within the rules and without placing the Chair in the invidious position of having to order members to withdraw on seeking their suspension. Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, I'd like to point out that the British Sign Language interpretation of proceedings is available to watch on Parliament Live TV. I now call Esther McVeigh.
Fuck off. Fuck off, Esther McVeigh.
Prime Minister.
Gobshite. Here's the gobshite. Groundhog Day, February the 2nd, 2022. Gobshite.
Will become the first British
gobshite
to celebrate a platinum jubilee.
Gobshite. What, the Queen that you lied to? The Queen whose husband you danced on the coffin of? You gobshite.
The day also marks 70 years
foul
since the death of her
bag
father, George
of syphilitic bag of custard.
In thanking her
this
Majesty
fucker is.
For her tireless
He's
service.
a canker.
We look
He's
forward
a
to celebrating
wart.
her historic reign
He
with a
is
series of national
the
events in
cancer that is
Mr. Speaker,
infecting
this morning
the
I had
nation's vital organs.
I had meetings with ministerial colleagues.
Fucking
and
rat
others.
bag.
In addition to my duties in this House, I
Fuck
shall
you,
have
rat
further
bag.
such meetings.
Gobshite.
Esther McVeigh.
Fuck off.
On Monday, the Secretary of State for Health said subject to a consultation. So can the Prime Minister make it clear, unequivocally,
Fuck
no
off.
ifs, no buts,
She's a
no
fucking
qualifications,
scouser. How embarrassing.
that mandatory
What an embarrassing
vaccinations for
scouser.
NHS
Has there ever
staff
been such an
will
embarrassing
be
scouser?
abandoned.
No, because Jimmy Savile
Will he
didn't come
also
from
make
Liverpool.
it clear that is true for care workers as well, many of whom have already lost their jobs? So what support will the government be giving to get those care workers back into the care sector? And will those who've lost their jobs get compensation?
Compensation. Fuck off.
I thank my right honourable friend very much for her thoughtful work on this. I want to stress that vaccines remain
maggot.
our best line
Fucking
of defence.
resign.
I do think that NHS staff and all those who work in the care sector have a professional responsibility.
You could just stop that sentence right there, mate. You don't fucking think about anything.
But as my right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, told the House on Monday, given the difference between Omicron and Delta, it is right, and she is right, that we revisit the balance of risks and opportunities, Mr. Speaker. The Health Secretary has said we'll launch a consultation, and subject to the response and the will of this House, Mr. Speaker, the government will revoke the regulations.
We now come to the Leader of the
that man
Opposition.
is a fucking liar!
Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And following your opening remarks, I just want to say to the members opposite, theirs is the party of Winston Churchill. Our parties stood together as we defeated fascism in Europe. Now their leader stands in the House of Commons parroting the conspiracy theories of violent fascists to try and score cheap political points. He knows exactly what he is doing. It's time to restore some dignity. Mr. Speaker, one of the most absurd claims made on behalf of Operation Save Big Dog is the Prime Minister and the Chancellor writing in the Sunday Times that they are the tax-cutting Conservatives. Why do these alleged tax cutters keep raising taxes on working people?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, on his first point, I don't want to make heavy weather of this, but I am informed that in 2013, the right honourable gentleman apologised and took full responsibility for what had happened on his watch, and I think, Mr. Speaker, that was the right thing to do.
Oh my God, he's doubling down on the whole Jimmy Savile bullshit. He didn't take responsibility.
On what we're doing to tackle cost of living.
When are you going to take responsibility for anything that's happened under your watch, under your nose, in your fucking house? When are you going to take responsibility for the shit you've done, you horrible little hamster? Fuck you cock!
Credit payments,
radioactive fucking waste of space.
Cutting the tax that people effectively pay, lifting the living wage, Mr. Speaker, helping councils with another £500 million.
Helping your fucking mates in the councils. How much more is Knowsley getting, knobhead? How much is Knowsley getting? Zero! Not a single extra fucking pound from your levelling up fund. Bag of cunts.
More on the payroll than there were before the pandemic began, because we've had the fastest exit from
you
COVID
absolute shower of shit
economy, Mr. Speaker, because we had the fastest vaccine and booster rollout.
Mr. Speaker, it's not just the national insurance rise. Thresholds for income tax frozen. A stealth tax on working people. The threshold for tuition fees frozen. A stealth tax on working people. Local authorities forced to increase council tax. A stealth tax on working people. You can be as stealthy as you like, but you can't hide reality. We have the highest tax burden for 70 years during the middle of an inflation crisis. So I ask the Prime Minister again, why do he and the Chancellor keep raising taxes on working people?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what we are doing is helping people with the cost of living.
No, you're not. No, you're fucking not. You're making food twice as expensive because of fucking Brexit. You're making fuel twice as expensive because of Brexit and your shitty policies. And the hike in national insurance is to pay off your cunt mates, your corrupt cunt mates who stole 13 billion from us, from the fucking taxpayer. Yes, shite hawk.
And above all,
you lump of foul deformity
is helping people
fucking cock juggler.
Work. 500,000 people off welfare into work under our Way to Work scheme. More people,
cunt.
in work now than before the pandemic began, and that is the record of this government. Labour never forget, Mr. Speaker, there's never been a Labour government that left office with unemployment lower than when they entered.
What? Apart from Tony Blair's government. What the fuck is he on about?
Lots of words, lots of bluster, no answers. Word of warning. Word of warning, Prime Minister. That's not going to work with the police.
Yeah, you fucking knobheads, you fucking criminal. Shite-bag.
I'll tell him why they're putting taxes up. Low growth. In the decade of Tory government before the pandemic,
8 billion,
growth
Mark. 8 billion on unusable
It was
PPE.
much weaker than under the last Labour government.
Unusable.
If the Tories matched our record on growth, we would have £30 billion more to spend on public services without having to raise a single tax.
30
Mr.
billion.
Speaker, surely even this Prime Minister doesn't need someone else to tell him that he and the Chancellor are having to raise taxes because the Tories failed to grow the economy over a decade.
Yeah, that's what you failed to do, you twat.
In this country,
you shitbag.
can see that we've been through the biggest pandemic.
No, we're talking about before the pandemic, you fuckbag.
After the people of this country to the tune of £400 billion
what?
that we put into furlough and all the other schemes.
400 billion into furlough? Where the fuck is he getting his numbers from? We put what? Nearly £500 billion into furlough. What the fuck?
At the same time,
fuck you,
in spite
cockhead.
of all the difficulties
Trying to do you
that
fucking
we have
sums.
faced, we have now got the fastest growth in the G7. Absolutely true.
Stop saying you've got the fastest growth in the G7. It's like saying, oh, I had one fucking potato yesterday, I've got two today, I've got the fastest growth in my fucking basement, you stupid twat. What the fuck is he on about? Fastest growth in the G7. We haven't even got that at the moment. He's just fucking lying. He's lying, and he's lying again. This man is a liar. He is a cunt and a liar. This is the man who was fucking his bit on the side, on the family couch, while his wife was being treated for cancer. You want to trust him with your fucking your household finances? Would you trust him with your fucking kids to fucking babysit them? You'll come back and be absolutely hammered.
Because they won't be here to hear it, so...
Fuck off! Fucking cunt.
Mr. Speaker, the UK has suffered the worst economic crisis in the G7. The Prime Minister has more chance of persuading the public that he didn't hold any parties than he has of persuading them that the economy is booming.
The economy's
High
booming.
taxes are not just the result of low growth.
Being in a
Under
fucking
this
hole.
government, we've seen a pandemic of
holding
waste
onto the side,
and
one foot
fraud.
off the bottom of the hole, going, I'm
From
nearly
the Prime
out.
Minister's yacht to government contracts for mates of ministers, they've treated taxpayers as an ATM machine for their mates and their lifestyles.
Yeah, ATM machine. That's what we've been.
Now we find, Mr.
Fucking
Speaker,
taxpayers.
they've written off £8.7 billion on PPA, and the Chancellor's writing off £4.3 billion in fraud. That's enough to cover the tax hike he's inflicting on working people. So why did this government block the National Crime Agency from investigating all the billions they lost to fraud?
Yeah, go on, answer that, you mountain of mad flesh.
Of course, we
Go on, you fucking gobshite.
steal from the taxpayer.
What the fuck? Comb your fucking hair, disrespectful cunt. Fucking lying to the Queen, lying to his wives, lying to his bosses, lying to the Prime Minister, lying to Parliament, lying to the nation on the side of a fucking bus. What a cock.
In securing record quantities of PPE and
The Tory party is costing us £350 million a week. Let's fund the NHS instead. Put that on the side of a fucking bus.
And once again, Captain Hindsight comes to this house.
Oh, he's got his
and
funny
attacks
little
the
slogan,
government
Captain
for doing
Hindsight.
exactly what he urged us to do
What?
18 months ago.
What?
Mr. Speaker, it so happens that I
What?
have
What are you
found a
talking
letter.
about?
I've been rustling in my notes,
18
Mr.
months
Speaker.
ago.
And I found a letter which I will place for your convenience in the House, in the Library of the House, Mr. Speaker, from the Shadow Chancellor to my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Duluth, suggesting that we could secure PPE supplies. This is on April the 22nd, 2020. Secure PPE supplies from from a theatrical costumier, and that we could get ventilators from a professional football agent, Mr. Speaker. No wonder.
What, you mean like fucking your mate's fucking pub?
was running at £21 billion per year, Mr. Speaker. I'm proud of what this government did to secure PPE, and I'm proud of the way we protected this.
Proud of what you did. You lost £8 billion, you twat, of our fucking money. You fucking gobshite.
Who wants to be the first to leave? Please put your hand up because I'm going to pick one of you. Keir Starmer.
Always that
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister might want to sharpen how he answers questions under interview. He's going to need it in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Waste and low growth explain why we have high taxes, but they don't explain why it's always working people that are asked to pay more. Yesterday, he ordered his troops not to support a windfall tax on oil and gas companies. Yeah. As a result, the country is missing out on over £1 billion we could have used to cut taxes on energy bills for working people. Today, he's ordering his troops to vote for tax cuts for banks. As a result, the country is missing out on another £1 billion we could have spent cutting taxes for working people. Why are the chants from the Prime Minister protecting oil companies and bank profits while putting taxes up on working people?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, let's just get to the heart of what this is all about. This is all about dealing with the consequences of the biggest pandemic this country has seen, with an unprecedented...
The consequences of your mismanagement of the biggest pandemic the world has ever seen. A pandemic in which less than 100 people in New Zealand have fucking carked it, whereas in this country it's 170,000! Cunt! You fucking ratbag! You absolute mountain of fucking baloney!
This year than there were last year.
Blancmange of doom.
10,000 more nurses, 10,900
fucking
more
Boyle.
nurses,
Fucking
about
Ward.
5,000 more doctors, Mr. Speaker.
Fuck you fucking canker.
100 community diagnostics hubs.
Fucking ulcer in the stomach of humanity.
The incredible thing.
Fucking
the incredible, the lamentable thing is that the party opposite, the party of Nye Bevan, Mr. Speaker, voted against those funds, voted against...
What are you talking about now? Voted against the funds? What the fuck are you on about, you mad bastard? Oh my God. He lives in a fucking other world, doesn't he?
Mr. Speaker,
like,
for all the bluster, the truth
opposition
is
are in opposition.
the Conservative Party are the party of high taxes because they're the party of low growth. They are the party of high taxes because they're the party of eye-watering waste.
Waste.
Mr. Speaker,
Waste
we know this Prime Minister has no
money.
respect for decency or honesty.
Yeah.
I can take it. I can take it when it's aimed at me, but I won't accept it when he gaslights the British public, writing absurd articles about cutting taxes at a time when he's squeezing working people to the pips. Isn't it the case, Mr. Speaker, that he and his Chancellor are the Tory Thelma and Louise, hand in hand, as they drive the country off the cliff and into the abyss of low growth and high tax?
Mr. Gullis, I think you've been trilled for long enough and you don't want to be trilled anymore. And that is the last comment I have, or otherwise I will ring your mother. Keir Starmer.
Isn't it true, Mr. Speaker, that he and the Chancellor are the Tory Thelma and Louise, hand in hand as they drive the country off the cliff and into the abyss of low growth and high tax?
Yes.
Prime Minister.
Yeah,
well,
Thelma.
Mr. Speaker,
Come on,
I think the right honourable gentleman is Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
How is that? How is that? How is that when your Rees-Mogg looks exactly like fucking Dick Dastardly?
Different views, Mr. Speaker. We are getting on. We are getting on with the job, Mr. Speaker. And just in the last few days, and of course, I think it's absolutely extraordinary that they've done nothing to support our COVID recovery plan. They've voted against our plans to support the NHS. But what we're doing, just in the last few days, while he's been fixated on the issues that he's absolutely determined to escalate, what we've done, we've opened free ports across the country just in the last...
What the fuck? You could have opened free ports in the EU, twat! Fact check! We could have opened them. We did have them until 2012 when David Cameron, who was one of your cunts, fucking shut the last one down. They still have them in the EU. They still fucking exist. They don't do anything. Except take trade and manufacturing from one place in a country to another.
Across our country, a wonderful moral
blah blah Peppa Pig blah. Thanks, Mark.
Give opportunity across the whole country. A fantastic vision for this country, Mr. Speaker. They have nothing of the kind to
endless liar.
This country. Mr. Speaker, while we are getting on with coming out of COVID with the second fastest, with the fastest economic recovery in the G7,
that this country has ever had the misfortune of knowing. Never mind being led by. And he wasn't even fucking born here.
and they have no
Talk
plan.
to your fucking far-right racist cunts, the ones who fucking vote for you. Tell them you weren't born on this fucking sacred soil.
Just a minute. Prime Minister, I'm this way, not that way. Maybe Specsavers might be the answer to see where I am. And can I just say, Dame Caroline Dinage is desperate to get the next question to you. Dame Diana Caroline Dinage.
Stop fucking rambling on, you cunt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to, first of all, give my condolences to the Right Honourable Member for Camberwell and Peckham and say how good it is to see her back in her place. Mr. Speaker, Sophie Farrell was just 10 years old when she died in September. Childhood cancer is often described as rare, yet cancer is the biggest killer of children under 14. Sophie's GP failed to diagnose her cancer, and it was only when she went to A&E that they discovered the tumour in her little body that was 12 centimetres long. So, Mr. Speaker, on World Cancer Day on Friday, I would like to ask the Prime Minister to please advocate for more and better training for general practice to identify cancer in children.
Prime Minister.
I thank my honourable. I'm very sorry to hear of Sophie's case, and my thoughts are with her family and her friends. And she's right that research is crucial in tackling childhood cancers. That's why we're investing in more research, but it's also vital that we do tests and diagnostic scans and screens early enough, and that's why it's also important that NICE has not only updated its guidance on referring childhood cancers in February last year, but we're investing in 100 new diagnostic centres in community hubs.
I now come to the leader of the SNP, Ian.
Cover their cutbacks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm sure that you and the rest of the House will want to join me in celebrating and supporting World Cancer Day. Mr. Speaker, just in relation to your earlier statement, I have a difficulty reconciling the Prime Minister's version of events with other evidence, and as you know, I have a duty to reflect and represent the deep, deep public anger with the Prime Minister. That said, Mr. Speaker, I respect the absolute impartiality that you take in your role, and I want to set on the record that I respect both you and the authority of the Chair. Mr. Speaker, this morning the Telegraph newspaper revealed that the Prime Minister attended a party in his flat on the 13th of November 2020. The Prime Minister previously told the House that no party took place. The police are now investigating this party, and we face a very real prospect of a sitting Prime Minister being questioned under caution and being fined in office. And if he is questioned, Mr. Speaker, he must go. If he's fined, he must resign. Mr. Speaker, you'll agree that the House should not be treated with contempt. So can the Prime Minister... here we go again. So can the Prime Minister update the House on his whereabouts on the evening of the 13th of November? Surely, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't need to wait for an investigation to tell us exactly where he was.
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, here we go again, says the right honourable gentleman opposite, and I must say those are entirely my feelings. He asked exactly the same questions as I recall in the...
wasn't the same one, because we didn't know about this party. We didn't know about this party. We didn't know about this fucking party.
I can tell him what's been going on in Downing Street, Mr. Speaker. In November and throughout, we've been delivering the fastest vaccine and booster rollout anywhere in Europe. We've been getting people back into work, Mr. Speaker. We've been getting people back into work, Mr. Speaker, and we've been helping to bring the West together to defy what I think is completely unacceptable threats and intimidation from the Putin regime against Ukraine. And that's what we've been doing.
I honestly wish you just fuck off.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I mean, that was a disgraceful response. And I have to say to the Prime Minister, he should read the room and it should see some of the faces on his colleagues' faces. He has lost it. Mr. Speaker, we've now reached the ridiculous scenario of a Prime Minister who can't even tell us where he was. He lives in a world where he thinks everything is owed to him, and he never pauses to think what he owes to the public. The Prime Minister is now a dangerous distraction at home and a running joke on the international stage.
Yeah, he is.
What does it tell the Prime Minister and the public that on the morning that he has returned from Ukraine, the chair of the Defence Select Committee has submitted a letter of no confidence in him?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, what it tells me that it's more vital than ever for the government of this country to get on with the job, deliver our COVID recovery plan, and that is what we are doing.
Going to mention the vaccines again? That's absolutely pathetic.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to say thank you to the Prime Minister for visiting my Honestmorn constituency, where he saw firsthand the enormous beneficial impact a new nuclear plant will know it could have if built on Anglesey. Nuclear power must play a role if we are to meet our carbon and net zero commitments, level up and combat rising energy prices. Does my right honourable friend agree that the rapid deployment of nuclear technology must be a priority for this government? And if so, will my right honourable friend commit to financing a nuclear plant at the Wilver site this Parliament?
Well, it was a great joy to visit my honourable friend's constituency, where I believe she is known as Atomic Kitten, or so she informed me, Mr. Speaker, and she outlined in great detail her plans for Wilfer. It's a fantastic vision, a fantastic site, and it remains a very interesting and attractive prospect for new nuclear power.
Colin Eastman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure if the Prime Minister has noticed, but while he's been partying, working families in Northern Ireland have lost £1,000 from their universal credit. Their national insurance has been put up by this government, and their energy bills are going through the roof. He's very fond of telling us that we're all in this together. Isn't it the truth, Mr. Speaker, that this Prime Minister has only ever been in it for himself and his rich mates?
No, Mr. Speaker, I'm in it to serve my country and the entire United Kingdom. And I'm also proud that we've had the biggest investment in Northern Ireland since devolution began, and we've cut taxation on universal credit.
We cut taxation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
On money that comes from the government.
South Western Railway has totally cut off Dorset, Somerset, most of Wiltshire and Devon from its direct rail services to London, as well as slashing our service in half, most of which is totally unnecessary.
That was your fault, Tory cunts.
Will my right honourable friends support me and my neighbouring colleagues in getting direct services back to West Dorset and having a timetable that's fit for our region?
Can you fix those problems you caused in the 60s?
I want to thank my
made even worse by privatising the rail.
He knows whereof he speaks. He's an expert in this subject, Mr. Speaker, and he's lobbied very effectively for his constituents and reflected their frustrations. And I'm told that the timetable is expected to return to December 2021 levels from Saturday, the 19th of February.
Alex Sherbel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was out this weekend speaking to a constituent who has a cold and leaky house. She has seen her bills already go up from £100 to £170 a month. The government have failed to insulate her house and failed to control her fuel bills. Bribing people with their own money is no plan. The Prime Minister has no plan to cut VAT, no plan to get the oil and gas industry to contribute. Another constituent who voted for the Prime Minister went further and called him despicable. What use is a Prime Minister who has no plan for families struggling with the cost of living and has lost the trust of the people of this country?
Prime Minister. Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks about cutting VAT. I wonder whether he voted for Brexit and our ability to cut VAT. Perhaps he could indicate, Mr. Speaker, what we're doing, which we delivered, Mr. Speaker.
You do know that we pushed the EU to bring in that rule about VAT for all future members to stop countries like Russia, Poland and Romania undercutting us.
Invest in and then protect them, and we're putting £12 billion worth of support and financial help for families in hardship this year, and it's absolutely vital after the pandemic. But the most important thing is to have a jobs-led led economic recovery. And in case I failed to make myself clear before you wound me up, Mr. Speaker, that's why we have the fastest economic growth in the G7.
We don't.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We don't have the best vaccine rollout. We don't have the fucking...
The Greater Manchester Mayoral Clean Air Zone scheme, effectively a congestion charge affecting all 500 square miles of Greater Manchester, including my constituents in Lee, is a job-destroying tax on ordinary workers.
This guy's on a register.
We all want clean air, but the model proposed by Mayor Burnham is unworkable and economically devastating.
Fuck off, sloth.
With charges of £60 per day per lorry driver.
Hey, you guys!
Taxis, white van men, even buses will be caught by it.
I know incest sounds like a game for all the family kids, but
to prevent Mayor Burnham from inflicting this disastrous Labour scheme on Greater Manchester.
Hey, you guys!
I know from my own experience how vital it is when you're trying to clean up air in a great city that you do not unjustly penalise business, and particularly small businesses. And it's become clear that the scheme proposed by the Labour Mayor in Manchester is completely unworkable, will do more damage to businesses and residents in Manchester. So we must find an alternative, Mr. Speaker, that doesn't punish local residents. And my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for the Environment, will be saying more about this in the coming days.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the Prime Minister receives a penalty fixed notice for attending a party or hosting a party during lockdown, will he inform the House and will he resign?
Yes. Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, of course I will comply with the law, but I've got to wait for the process to be concluded.
Are you going to resign?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since being elected, my fabulous constituency of Blythe Valley is really seeing the green shoots of prosperity. Government support is a green revolution in Blythe Valley. However, with such growth, increased congestion on our roads, we are in desperate need of upgrades to the road infrastructure. Will my right honourable friend please meet with me to discuss the urgent problem and help Blythe Valley out of the ever-increasing traffic jam? Thank you.
Prime Minister. My honourable friend is the best champion that Blythe could possibly have. And he does a quite amazing job. And I want to thank him in particular, Mr. Speaker, for helping to secure the British Volt Gigafactory in Blythe. Absolutely amazing investment. And I understand that, of course, growth and prosperity bring their challenges when it comes to congestion on our roads. We have to tackle that.
Why don't you support us? Why don't you support us more? Why don't you support us, Kia?
Like, why to discuss it further.
Rachel Bascom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The problem with a distracted Prime Minister is that he makes the wrong choices. While he's been living it up, many of my constituents are living on the breadline as food, energy and taxes shoot up. In York, the rent prices are the highest now in the north and some of the highest in the country. And York is now in the top 10 places in the country where there is a cost of living crisis, pushing my constituents further into poverty and debt. So when is he going to stop protecting himself and start protecting my constituents?
So Mr. Speaker, one of the first things I did when I became Prime Minister was to ensure...
have a party, then have another party, get wrecked, have another party, impregnate some floozy, marry the floozy, create an opportunity for another floozy in your fucking horrible sordid little sex life, from which you've got 8, 9 children, no one knows. You put in a court injunction a few years ago to stop people knowing of the existence of one of your own fucking children. This is a guy who has disowned his own children. Okay, not grown-up children who turned out to be a bit of a twat. No, disowned his own children while they were children.
So Desmond
Cunt. Oh God, talking of cunts.
Will he brief us on his visit to Ukraine?
Oh, strangely normal question.
Mr. Speaker, I thank my honourable friend very much, and in very briefly, Mr. Speaker, I can tell the House that The mission was to, as I hope everybody will support, was to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine, for the House, for our country to show that we stand with the people of Ukraine, and we stand for the sovereign and territorial integrity of Ukraine at a very difficult time, because there are on the borders of Ukraine, as everybody knows, about 125,000 Russian troops massing. The situation is very perilous, and the job of the UK is to lead the West in bringing together the most important countries in creating a package
revolution,
of economic
please,
sanctions
and
that
also,
will deter
Nico,
President
thank you.
Putin
You're
from what
a
I believe will be
fucking
a disastrous
You're like the
miscalculation,
anti-Boris.
and also to
Not Boris's
strengthen
anti,
our
but
support
like,
for the
he's a
Ukraine,
fucking cock
for the
who's
Ukrainian
not
people,
worth
and
a pan of
indeed
scouts,
the Ukrainian
whereas
army.
you're an
And,
awesome
we're
bastard.
doing that. We're supplying lethal but defensive weaponry as well as training to the Ukrainians, and that is
How about
appreciated,
no one has
but I
to
must say that
die
the
and
situation
you just take all the
remains
money
risky,
off the cunts
Mr.
in
Speaker,
Belgravia,
and it
or
is
your Russian
vital
mates
that
take their money
diplomacy
off
finds a
them?
way forward.
Why don't you take your money off the fucking Russian cunts in fucking Belgravia?
After the publication of the Russia report, the Prime Minister claimed tackling illicit finance and driving dirty money and money launderers out of the UK is a priority. His warnings to Mr. Putin of late would surely have carried more bite if he'd actually used the 18 months since publication of the Russia report to legislate for an economic crime act to stop the flow of dirty money for Russia. Why hasn't he prioritised this issue of national security?
Answer that, Mr. Speaker. Contrary to the, some of the myths that are peddled, this government has come down very hard on dirty money from Russia and everywhere else.
What? No, you haven't. You lying sack of shit. You made a KGB agent's son a fucking lord. The Lord of Siberia, for Christ's sake. After going to his bunga sex parties with sex-trafficked women from Russia who were forced to have sex with this fucking horrible lump of foul deformity.
To his point, Mr. Speaker,
what a shite bag. Oh, Richard, thank you very much. Really appreciate the super chat there, mate.
It will be voted on in the third session of this Parliament.
He thinks he's Churchill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Despite the best efforts of the opposition, 2 years ago this week, this government delivered the democratic decision to leave.
Yeah, and it's been a fucking disaster. And now all of our fucking food costs 50% more.
In the 2 years
Gobshite!
Over 70 free trade agreements have
been
signed.
Carry on free trade agreements with ones that we already had that aren't any better. And in most cases are actually better for the other country, not for us.
Will the Prime Minister commit to appointing a minister responsible for realising those Brexit freedoms?
Do you know what
and
this is? It's like
benefits
someone saying
that
we've got
boost all of our
70 cars,
constituencies?
and then you go round to the house, and the house is a fucking scrapyard, and none of the cars fucking go. They don't have steering wheels, or wheels for that matter, but they've got 70 cars. Look at these 70 cars I've got. They're all rusted old shitbags that don't actually run, that don't have engines in them, but I've got 70 of them. What they do?
We've been able to deliver our free ports, Mr.
Oh,
Speaker,
free ports!
and we've been able to do 60 or 70 free trade
free
deals
ports,
around
something
the
we can
world.
already do.
And, yes,
all
Mr.
of those
Speaker,
deals
I'm not going
replicate
to
what we've got with the
anticipate any
EU,
decisions I
or
may
they are
make,
worse than the
about
deals we would have got through the
certainly
EU.
think it would be a good idea to have a minister.
He has made it so this
driving,
country
that
has been
post-Brexit
bent
agenda.
over and fucked from behind by every other country in the world because we're so desperate with trade deals.
Mr. Speaker, before we were told we must wait for the Sue Gray report, then we were told we must wait for the police investigation to conclude. There was no party.
Jesus.
And then if there was a party, I wasn't there then. Well, if there was a party, then all rules were followed. But no one, Prime Minister, believes you. And if any of the above were true, why did Allegra Stratton have to resign?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I explained that sad matter on the floor of the House, and nobody wanted Allegra to resign, and I was very sad that she did.
Simon Jupp.
Thank you.
My constituent, Ginty Sheeran from Exmouth, has launched a campaign to get a dedicated menopause clinic in Devon.
Jesus.
Women in East Devon currently face a 120-mile round trip to get to the nearest specialist menopause clinic. It's not good enough, is it?
No.
Will my right honourable friend outline what steps the government is taking to improve access to menopause services in Devon and the South West?
Prime Minister.
I thank my honourable friend for raising this very important campaign, and we are committed to improving menopause.
Do not tempt me, Master Frodo!
Access to the support they need and to manage the symptoms. Menopause will be a priority within our women's health strategy, and we're committed to establishing a UK-wide menopause task force, Mr. Speaker.
Dame Angela Riedel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the Prime Minister needs a Metropolitan Police inquiry to tell him whether he attended a party on the 13th of November in his own Downing Street flat, why should we believe that he's a fit and proper person to have his hand on the button of our independent nuclear deterrent?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I hesitate to remind the right honourable lady, but she campaigned actively to install a Prime Minister who wanted to get rid of our nuclear deterrent altogether.
He's not in charge though, mate. He's not in charge though.
Hypotheticals. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister, the government, and our NHS
How many
have done an
sloths has
amazing
this party
job
got?
with the vaccine rollout,
3
making it a
sloths in one
resounding
fucking
success.
sentence?
Would my right honourable
Hey,
friend
you
join me in
guys!
thanking the wonderful NHS workers, volunteers and
Jesus, look at that. He's got
pharmacists
teeth like
who
a
have
broken
worked so
piano.
hard to help make this possible
Fucking hell.
in Dewsbury,
That's
Murfield,
what happens if you get
Kirkburn and
chimps to move
Denbydale.
your piano. It falls down the stairs. Piano keys
I
everywhere.
thank my honourable friend who does a fantastic job of representing his
fantastic
communities.
job
And I
of
want to
saying,
thank all
"Hey, you
of them, Mr. Speaker,
guys,"
everybody
in the
involved
Goonies.
in the rollout in Dewsbury, in Murfield, in Kirkburton, and in Denbydale, Mr. Speaker, because it was an extraordinary.
Come on, you can't expect
national
BJ to remember
Anybody
every
who
party he's
visited a
been to.
vaccine
Yeah,
centre
there's
will
been
know
so
that
many of them,
feeling
it becomes a bit of a blur.
in what was
Especially
happening.
considering
That
all the amount of
feeling
drugs and
energy
drinking
in a
this cunt
collective
does.
effort to make our society and our country literally healthier day by day. And I thank all of them, Mr. Speaker, from the bottom of my heart.
That's the end of PMQs. So those who wish to leave, please do so
Right,
quietly and quickly.
fuck off, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Right, I'm still here while they're filing out. Just put on your screen. Go on. Fuck off. Okay. Motherfucker. There he is again. Like he is every fucking week. Today is actually Groundhog Day. It's February the 2nd. It's also the 2nd of the 2nd, 22, which is really good. It'd be even better if it was a Tuesday, because then it would be a Tuesday. Although the 22nd of February 2022 is going to be on a Tuesday. So we can call it Tuesday, because there's going to be lots of twos. And I discovered today that, I realised today that the Roman numeral for this year is MMXXII, which I really like. I like how it looks. It looks good. This would be a good year to be born, maybe. But for some people, like Boris Johnson, it'd be a quite good year to lie. Lie and lie again. Or maybe something that rhymes with the word lie. Yeah, that might be an idea as well. But as things stand, we have a Boris Johnson in charge who just fucking lies, who won't answer a simple question of whether he was at a party or not, because he needs the police to tell him under caution. Yes, this is the guy who is in charge of our nuclear arsenal, and his only reply to this is, oh, but you wanted to get rid of our nukes. Yeah, that would make us a lot less of a target to Putin, and we're already part of NATO, which means that an attack on us would be an attack on the United States of America, who have shitloads of fucking nukes. So, you know, as long as we're still part of NATO, I don't think we really need nukes. I mean, France has got nukes. That's part of NATO as well. Maybe they'll fucking ride to our defence. I mean, they've said they would, just like they've said they'd ride to the defence of Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. In fact, there's 30 countries in NATO since, I think, who was the latest one? I think North Macedonia. North Macedonia, I think, joined NATO a couple of years ago. So there's now 30 members of NATO, and 20 of them are in the EU. And all we've done for the last few years is slag off the EU. In fact, it's all Boris Johnson's done for the last 30 years or longer is slagging off the EU. He used to work for the Telegraph, I think, as the Brussels correspondent, making shit up about the EU. That wasn't true. That's what he used to do. That's what he used to fucking get paid for. This is a man who doesn't need money. He was born into money. He has a lot of fucking money. He doesn't need any extra money. And yet, he wants to be Prime Minister because he wants to be world king. He doesn't want to be Prime Minister because he needs the money for it. He doesn't want to be Prime Minister, which would be somehow more noble than the reason he does want to be Prime Minister. It's just self-aggrandment. That is all he's interested in. He doesn't want to be Prime Minister to make things better. He doesn't want to be Prime Minister to make people's lives easier. He wants to be Prime Minister because he wants to be Prime Minister. He just wants the power. That's it. He doesn't need to be Prime Minister. He's not fit to be Prime Minister. He just wants to be. And he doesn't give a fuck about who gets crushed underfoot as he achieves his mad dream of building statues to himself and building bridges with his name on them. Because that's all he fucking cares about. That's all he fucking cares about. This fucking monkey clown car on fire, going off a cliff into a fucking vat of crocodiles. This is what we are faced with in the UK at the moment, and it's a fucking embarrassment. I am fucking embarrassed to be English right now. I'm so embarrassed. I'm jealous of my Scottish friends and family who get to say, oh, well, I'm Scottish. It's nothing to do with me. No. And I've got to take responsibility for this American-born shitbag. This lump of foul deformity, which is my favourite Shakespearean insult today. He is just horrific. As were three of the MPs on the Tory side there, who did look like they were fucking pound shop sloths out the Goonies. Like, what was going on there? Was I the only one to see that? I don't know. I know you shouldn't comment on people's looks. It's not very nice. But at the end of the day, if they are going to be so ugly of physicality, but also of thought, then fuck them. That's what I think. I'm at Roald Dahl and the twits on this. You know, that having evil thoughts makes you look even more ugly than you otherwise would do. See Theresa Coffey for more details. In that circumstance, Mark Francois would probably cite this acquisition as Minister Post as number one Brexit benefit, which he services with glee on behalf of the people. That's from Adrian. What's his plan? Ever noticed how Tories are anti-education and pro-incest? Yeah. Incest may be normalised with them due to the huge wealth hoarding. They need the rest of us thick to make them more cash. Well, that's very true indeed. We should start a campaign to ban prawn cocktail crisps. Okay, but John, I don't know where that came from. I must have missed that bit. How will your YouTube members get their invite to the new Discord server? I'm going to set that up because at the moment I can message everyone who is on Patreon, which I did yesterday. And I got a message from someone saying, oh, it didn't go through. And there's a part of me that wishes that I hadn't done that because I actually lost 2 of my patrons. I think I woke them up. I think I sent this message out and said, hey, you know, you can now have access to this Discord server. And 2 of them went, oh shit, am I still giving that cunt money? Oh, well, fuck that. And cancelled their Patreon subscription. So maybe I should have kept my gob shut. Shit. Anyway, I could have really done with that £6 a month. Anyway, I tend to introduce myself as a Londoner rather than an Englishman for the same reasons. No Tory car crashes in my name or in my city's name. Be Liverpudlian, Graham. It's a better label. Yeah, People's Republic of Liverpool. How much do you need to be earning to get by in the UK right now? That's from Sam Rousseau, 86. Well, let's have a think about it. So, council tax here is about £1,000 a year. Then you've got your cost of doing the shopping, which has gone from about £70 a week for a family. It's now gone up to about £100 a week, I've noticed. Then you've got the cost of fuel, which is now over £1.50 a litre. You've got the cost of heating, which has gone up massively from maybe £100 a month to about £170 a month. And then you've got all the other extra charges that the government's bringing in, including a massive 10% hike on national insurance, which is going to squeeze the poorest families the most. So, yeah, I think to get by these days, so just to pay the bills, I think you're looking at probably you need to be earning about 15 grand a year. And to then have any money on top of that to live your life in a nice way and not like a slave to the wage, literally, you'll need to be earning maybe 10 grand more than that a year. So I'm going to go with 25 grand at the moment. I've never earned that much. I've never earned enough to have to pay tax on my earnings. But yeah, enough about me. But yeah, so if you're very, very, very lucky and you can get away with still having a roof over your head, but it's going to be cold this winter, you could probably get by maybe on, just about scrape by on 11 grand a year, which is the minimum amount if you get away with not having to pay income tax. Anything above that, you have to pay income tax, which is another huge chunk as well. I don't know. I really don't know. The average wage in the UK, I think, is about 17 or 18 grand a year. But living off that now, you'll probably be under the poverty line right now, considering this squeeze that this Tory government has foisted on us through Brexit, their mismanagement of the COVID pandemic, the fact that they spaffed all this money up the wall. £4.3 billion of our money went to fraudsters, went to fucking fraudsters. You know how apoplectic you are when you know someone or someone in your family actually takes their life savings or whatever and gives it to a Nigerian email scam or door-to-door vacuum cleaner scam or whatever scam it is, and you're like, fucking hell, I spent all that money, I lost 15 grand, and you're thinking, oh bloody hell, that's painful. But then imagine if it was your money that someone else had given to a fraudster. That's what this government's done. They've taken your money. They've taken your fucking earnings, the stuff that you worked for. They have taken that money and given it to a fraudster in your name. That's what this government have done. That's what they've done. And that should be the final nail in the coffin. But we know it won't be, because Brexit has broken this country. It has broken the brains of this fucking country. There are people out there who are still defending Boris Johnson, even though he lied. He lied to the Queen. He lied to Parliament. He lied to his wives. He lied to his bosses. He lied to the Prime Minister. He is a fucking liar. He is a gaslighter. You must know that fucking infuriating little shit in school. Look, I wasn't the best in school. I wasn't the brightest by any stretch of the imagination, and I certainly wasn't the best behaved. But when I got caught doing something wrong, generally speaking, I went, well, this is something I learned in senior school, actually. In junior school, I was a bit more like, no, didn't do it. Can't prove it. You can't prove nothing, copper. But in senior school, I seemed to realise, even at that young age, that if you deny it and the teacher knows you did it, you get into more trouble, because it's so fucking frustrating when you know someone has done something and yet they deny it to your face. That's gaslighting. And anyone here watching this who's been a teacher, maybe in the past, will sympathise with the plight of a teacher in that position. Putting up with a little fucking shitbag, a little 12-year-old cunt who's going, no, I didn't do it, while they're literally standing next to the window they're smashed with their football. If they just said, yeah, sorry, you'll be like, okay, you might be more forgiving. But the fact that they make you question your own fucking sanity with their lies. And we all know someone like Boris Johnson. We all know someone who is a compulsive liar, someone who just gaslights all the fucking time, and it just gets wearisome, and you see it coming, like you're watching a TV show or a film that's hackneyed, cliched, tropes all over the show. You know what's coming next. Why expect something different? Maybe that should be the sign of fucking madness. Not expecting a different result, but just putting up with it. The same thing every day. Groundhog Day. And that's what we face with this absolute shower of shite that is the Tory party. These people are fucking scum. And all they want to do is destroy you. Destroy your finances, destroy your hopes, destroy your dreams. This is all they want to do. And all we can do in response is not let them and not give up. Someone said to me, what's the point of protesting? It doesn't achieve anything. I'm sick of hearing that, okay? It's not about fucking changing the world tomorrow. You're never going to do that from a fucking protest. But do you know what it's good for? Do you know what a protest is fucking good for? Your mental health. In the same way that pride is good for the mental health of people in the LGBTQIA plus community. Because it shows that they're not alone and they won't be gaslit. They won't be told what they believe is wrong. They know it's right, and there we are with thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people on the streets who all feel the same way. We will not go mad under this mad cunt of a Prime Minister. Because I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship with someone who has mental health problems. It's difficult. It is very fucking difficult. And you're not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. You're not a trained mental health professional. You don't really know what to do in these situations. You haven't been trained. You haven't studied at university for this situation. What to say, what not to say. But you think, well, I love this person. I want them to get better. If I'm there and I'm supportive and I'm kind and I'm generous, maybe I can help. But the horrible, horrible fact is you can't, okay? I'm sorry to break this to you. You can't. Professionals can. People who know what they're fucking doing can. But what happens to you in that situation is it affects your mental health. That's why it's so important that people who are suffering from mental health problems get the professional help that they need. Because you can't do it. I can't do it. All that ends up happening is that we get dragged into that pit ourselves. And that's what Boris Johnson is doing to this nation. He is, with his fucking madness, his sociopathy, his psychopathy, I didn't even say that right, the fact he's a psychopath, his absolute, continuous, compulsive lies upon lies upon lies. He is dragging the mental health of this entire fucking nation down. I hated lockdown. Fucking hell, look at me. I'm the guy who's been to 14 Glastonbury festivals. I've been to every fucking country in the world. I used to go to a gig every fucking week. I used to go to at least once a week. I used to go to the cinema once a fucking week. I was always out there drinking and partying, having a good time with my mates, organising events, doing stuff. I wasn't staying at home. I never stayed at home. I hated it. Having to stay home for months on end against your will is house arrest. And those bastards, those gaslighting cunts like Loser Fox. I haven't heard from him today. Maybe he's that'd be good, wouldn't it? But they'd say, oh, you enjoy your lockdown. You want to stay in your lockdown. Fuck you. I don't want to stay in my fucking lockdown. I will do it because I have to protect the people of this country. But I will not do it because I enjoy it. I don't fucking enjoy it. But I'll tell you this. The damage that lockdown did to my mental health was absolutely minimal compared with the damage that this cunt government and their cunt Brexit and their cunt crooked fucking mates stealing our money. The effect that has had on my mental health has been substantial. And I will have my fucking vengeance for that. I'm not going to say in this life or the next because I don't believe in the afterlife. So I'm going to fucking have it one day. And I'll see them fucking squirm. You see if I don't. We will all watch them fucking squirm. These little fucking maggots. Destroying our country. Destroying our community. Destroying our faith in each other. Pitting us against each other. These phony fucking culture wars. Fuck off. Oh, I'm really concerned that a weightlifter on the other side of the world isn't quite what she says she is. I don't give a fuck. I really couldn't give two fucking monkeys. As long as you're not actively making someone else's life fucking horrible. which is what a lot of people seem to want to do in this country, emphasis on the first syllable, I don't mind. I don't mind. It's nothing to do with me. It's not my fight. Oh, you're just being horrible. Oh, okay then. Right, okay. And this is the one thing you've got. It's pathetic. It's like when Tories used to go on and on and on about Gordon Brown. So he sold our gold. He sold our gold. Gordon Brown presided over the biggest fucking enrichment of this nation since the fucking Second World War. From 97 to 2006. Our economy grew year on year. Almost exponentially. Of course, that was all thrown off course by the credit crunch. That was caused by America. Although loose regulation in the banking industry is something that needs to be addressed. But who was punished for that? Who was punished for what happened in 2008 in the banking crisis? No one. Who's going to be punished for Brexit? No one. They're saying, oh, it's 2 years since Brexit. The government produced a 100-page leaflet, booklet, of all the Brexit benefits. And do you know what they included in there? Cabotage. Not like the Beastie Boys. That's sabotage. Well, I suppose it's sabotage in a way. Cabotage is the ability to do a job in a European driver coming to the UK, dropping some stuff off in their HGV, and then going somewhere else, picking something else up, and then driving back to the EU. Or picking something up and driving it somewhere in Britain. They could do that. You, as a British citizen, with your shitty cunting fucking black passport, which is supposed to be blue, but for some reason it's black, you can't. You can't do it. They can. And the government has put that in their cunting fucking booklet that it's a good thing. Look at the benefit of Brexit. It's allowing people from other countries to come here and do our jobs. Delivery. You can't. You can't go to the EU and do that now. You can't do cabotage in the EU. You can't drive your van full of stuff to Paris and then go over to Berlin, pick up some stuff and come home. You can't do that anymore. Because you can't do cabotage. I think maybe you can pick it up from the same place. But you certainly can't pick something up from Paris and take it to Berlin. Unless you've got a work permit, I suppose. Work permit for working in our own continent. And look at the map of Europe. You just fill it all in. All right, fill it all in. There's the map there. Just imagine it in your head. All right, and you've got. In fact, I might actually have any journalists watching this. Get Graham on TV, assuming that he wants to. That's from number 3. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you very much for the super chat. Another one. I don't think they'll let me on TV. I swear too fucking much, and I'm too articulate, and I know what I'm talking about. And they hate people who know what they're talking about. And also, I went to a fucking state school. I went to a really fucking good state school, but still, I went to a state school. I went to the best state school in Liverpool. The best school in Liverpool that you don't have to pay for. And yet, out of my year, 100 boys in my year, 100 boys, and only one got into Oxford. One. The brightest and best of my fucking city. Meanwhile, 38% of the people in the intake in Oxbridge, privately educated? Yeah. Don't think I'm getting anywhere. I pointed out last night because Michael Gove retweeted something by David Baddiel, and I thought, well, I'll make a point about this because David Baddiel and Michael Gove may seem very opposite in terms of their policies. I mean, obviously, David Baddiel seen as this lefty intelligentsia or whatever they fucking call it. He's definitely anti-Brexit. Whereas Michael Gove was Mr. Brexit, we don't like expats. But Gove and that fucking and David Baddiel, they were in a TV show together on Channel 4 in the early 90s called A Stab in the Dark. It was a comedy show. It was like a politics comedy show. What the fuck were they thinking? But there you go. It had 3 presenters. It had Baddiel, it had Gove, and it had the woman whose name I forget. But shit, she does MasterChef. She's one of the judges on MasterChef now. These 3 people got a TV show in their 20s on Channel 4. And they're all privately educated. You know, I when I was young, I used to watch the Adam and Joe show. I fucking loved it. And I still do love those guys. Adam Cornish and Joe Buxton. I love Joe Buxton's shows on Radio 6. I follow their stuff. They work in Hollywood now. I mean, they've written scripts for Tintin and Spielberg's Tintin and Ant-Man and stuff like that. I mean, like, they've done really, really well. I don't begrudge them at all. But the fact that Adam Buxton went to a private school and then I'm watching their Take Over TV or whatever it's called in the 90s, I'm thinking, oh, that's really good. He's done that himself. He's done that, But no. I got the impression that they just sort of made these little videos in their home with a little digital video camera and Channel 4 went, oh, that's really good. Well, but no, he had the contacts. He had the fucking contacts. Of course he did. And I'm just thinking, like, try making a TV show in your 20s in a TV series, right? And you're not married to a footballer. You haven't won the lottery, right? You're just an ordinary person, perhaps doing something extraordinary. Try and get a TV show in your 20s in this country if you didn't go to private school. I'd like to make a list. I'd like to see a fucking list of all the people who have achieved that because there can't be many. I haven't. The TV show that I started making in my 20s, thank you, was Australian. It was the BBC because they owned Lonely Planet at the time, but I had to go to Australia to get it made. Couldn't get anywhere in this fucking country. Went to The Guardian and they just fucking laughed me out the fucking place. Yes, but what did you go to school, Graham? Anyway, so yeah, if I can bring up a map of Europe, here we go. So this is painful. This is fucking painful. If I just bring this up here, oh god, it's doing that annoying thing where it sort of makes it gives you your other pictures. At the bottom, I don't want to show everyone watching this my other pictures windows. Fuck's sake. Oh, I'm trying to be helpful. Just make it fucking full screen. Right, thank you. Fucking bloody Windows bastard. Right, anyway, I've gone over time. I will stop streaming soon. Let's have a look. Photos. Oh, it's not appeared. Why hasn't my photo appeared? That's not making me happy. Motherfucker. Okay, that there, and then what is going on? Sorry, I know this is really boring to watch when someone's trying to bloody, fix to show something on their fucking screen. I don't know why this bloody map isn't appearing. Just fucking kill me now, eh? Right, let's have a look. Make this map appear. Go on. I dare you to. I double dare you. Window. Photos. No, it doesn't fucking work. What can I do? What can I do to make this work? Oh, I've completely gone off me bloody tangent now. that I was on, because I'm always on a fucking tangent. But this is particularly vexing. I'm vexed. Why aren't you just allowing me to see this browser window? I'll tell you what, I'll open a new Google Chrome browser and I will drag the picture into that. Will that work? No, of course it won't. I'll tell you what I can do. I'll use my special do not use function on here. Bloody hell. No, I can't get rid of this thing. Fuck my life. I seem to have moved one of my... Oh, there you go. Go away. Right. Oh, that's no good. Right. Okay. Right. Finally. It's not that exciting. It's just a map of Europe. Sorry that took so fucking long. It wouldn't appear on my fucking screen. So there you go. Map of Europe. Right. See all the places in green there. We've got Iceland up here. We've even got French Guiana in South America here. We've got Guadeloupe. We've got Martinique. We've got I don't know what we've got. The ABC Islands. What's it called? Bonaire, Curacao, and Aruba. We've got San Martin, I assume. We've also got, I guess, Mayotte somewhere over here. Anyway, we've got Portugal. We've got Spain. We've got Italy down here. We've got France. We've got Sweden. Switzerland, Luxembourg. We've got Ireland. We've got Iceland. We've got Norway over here. We've got Sweden. We've got Finland. We've got Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. We've got Poland, Germany, Czechia, Slovenia, Austria. We've got down here. We've got Slovenia, Slovakia, and Slovenia. We've got Croatia. We've got over here. We have Hungary, and then we've got this is Romania, Bulgaria, and then down here we have Greece. We've also got, I think, just under the map, which I think is a bit unfair. We have Malta, which doesn't seem to be on the map. Oh, it does. I just need to move the map. Just give me a second here while I just try and sort this out. There we go. Let's do that. Okay, brilliant. Now you can see just below Sicily there, that is Malta down there at the bottom. And over here we have Crete. And over here in the corner we have Cyprus. All these fucking places. Have I missed anywhere? Denmark. We've got Denmark as well. We used to be able to live, work, retire, get married, buy a house, start a business in all of these countries. Now you can still do it in the Republic of Ireland. We have a free movement with them, but nowhere else. That's what's been taken from us by Brexit. We're stuck on this grey island. And who else is not part of this? Oh, well, we've got Albania down here, Moldova, we've got Ukraine, we've got Belarus over here, we've got Bosnia-Herzegovina, we've got Kosovo, we've got Serbia, which is desperately trying to move into the EU, we've got Montenegro, and we've got North Macedonia. And we've also got Turkey, which wanted to join the EU, but the EU were having none of it. What a group to be in. We're the rejects. We're the people that maybe, I don't know, we were torn apart by war. Maybe we were just, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe we were part of the former USSR, or maybe we were part of the Soviet bloc behind the Iron Curtain. There's lots of things that we could have been. But, the fact that this has happened to us and we've allowed it to happen is just really, really dispiriting. China tomorrow, Pineapple Boy, £1.79 super chat. Thank you very much. Yes, I'll be back tomorrow with China. Did you see the fighter jet's just been launched? Now it's an unidentified object on TV. It was on Sky News after PMQs. Yes, we just heard about that. Loved Adam and Joe's stuffed toy sketches. The one on Trainspotting was brilliant. Yes, it was brilliant. I remember that. They used to remake scenes from films with cuddly toys. It was fucking hilarious. It was called Takeover TV, wasn't it? That's one of the things that inspired me to start making films myself, start making videos myself. That was definitely one of the big inspirations for me in the late 90s. But then to Brexiteers, Europe was always the other. They hark on about Empire and Commonwealth, but even then, those from the former Empire have told them they're not welcome by some. Yeah, well, the thing is fucking puny. We used to be able to live and work anywhere in Europe. Now, if we went back to the pre-1973 arrangements, we would be free to go and live and work anywhere in the Commonwealth. Okay, well, Canada, that's pretty good. Australia, New Zealand, that's reasonable. But then the other 50 countries of the Commonwealth, I really wouldn't, I'm thinking, I'm really that desperate to go and live in Tuvalu, St. Kitts and Nevis. I don't really want to live in India. I mean, come on, Pakistan, it's not that nice. I mean, they're still a developing nation. It's difficult. Sri Lanka, Mozambique, I mean, yeah, okay, I enjoyed travelling through there, and there's lots of lovely people, but it's dangerous in a lot of respects, and I don't know, I wouldn't want to bring my kids up there. I prefer them to be in a developed country. I know that might sound fucking terrible and perhaps maybe even a little bit racist, but it's you piss with the dick you've got. I mean, what can we do? These countries are developing. These countries are places where you can't necessarily get a really well-paid job and supply give to your family what the upbringing that you would want to, your children, the upbringing that you might want to give to them. There's 50 countries in the Commonwealth that I'm not that interested in living in. I'm sorry, but that's just the way things have just ended up. Sierra Leone, no, do you mind if I don't? Ghana, okay, it's nice, lovely people, great food, but no, Nigeria, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. Belize, maybe I'll make an exception for Belize, but it would mean moving up the coast from Panama, which seems like a bit of an unnecessary ball ache. Boris Johnson, the voice of treason, indeed. Spain also have Melilla and Ceuta. Yes, they do, which is on the very north-west corner of Africa, in what you might expect to be Morocco, but isn't. Graham, Spain is your best option. No, it isn't, David, because I can't move to Spain anymore because we're not part of the EU. Ireland is my best option at the moment because then I can get an Irish passport and I can travel around the EU normally, like a normal person who's European and comes from fucking Europe. Don't know who Reggie said it, but there's a quote about Britain winning the war but losing the peace. Yeah. Well, that about sums it up, doesn't it? Okay, ladies and gents, it is 17 minutes past 1 o'clock. On February the 2nd, 2022, we just had another diabolical PMQs with Graham Hughes. PMQs with Boris Johnson, the absolute mad hatter of the Tory Tea Party, who have just decimated the nation. Decimated the nation with their lies and their subterfuge and their corruption. Absolutely corrupt, morally corrupt, ethically corrupt. They corrupt everything. Everything they touch rots away from the inside. Again, yesterday, more stories came out about the Met Police, run by Cressida Dick, privately educated, who hearing about stories, horrific stories, about serving police officers joking about rape, joking about beating up women. And these are the people who are supposed to be catching the rapists, the people who abuse their wives and children. They're supposed to be catching them and putting them in jail, gathering evidence. It's no wonder only 1 in every 100 rapes ends in a conviction. Reported rapes, 1 in every 100. They've practically decriminalised it. And one thing I just want to say before I go, these Tory fuckers, when you hear them on the fucking news and they go, oh, it's just like getting a speeding ticket, these fixed penalty fines for having a party. If you get a fine for speeding or a parking offence, right? You're probably, I know you're putting people's lives at risk, right? But I'm assuming that you haven't actually hit anyone at the point that you get a fixed penalty notice for speeding. Because if you had to someone, that would be the least of your worries, because you'll be up in court, quite rightly, for dangerous driving. It's not like that. Because the difference is between Boris Johnson's fixed penalty notices for having his parties and you getting a fixed penalty notice for parking in the wrong space is that you parking this in the wrong space didn't cost the lives of tens of thousands of people. 170,000 people died on this island who did not need to fucking die because of that fucking ratbag in charge and his mates. His sordid little money-grabbing, pocket-lining, grubby little mates. Stealing the nation's money. Stealing from the nation's coffers. Stealing from you to enrich their already rich mates. And Nico's right. We need a fucking revolution. Fuck these guys. Let's do it. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Hughes of the World in which I'm going to tackle China. Oh, God. In an hour, which is going to be difficult because China has a lot of history. It has a lot of it. China has oh, my God. It's like trying to do the history of Europe in an hour. But there's so many different places and so many different things. And what do you concentrate on? I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to be talking about China. I might make it a 2-parter. I might go on for 2 hours. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. China is a vast country with a vast history. I can't even pull what I'm going to do with Russia eventually, which is like, well, you can pretty much safely ignore the first, I don't know, million years. You can pretty much ignore Russia until maybe Ivan the Terrible. So yeah, up until that point, there's no real things going on that much that anyone really gives a fuck about. But yeah, as soon as Ivan the Terrible turns up, that's the history. And that was only 500 years ago. So do you know what I mean? There's not that much history. But China, oh my God, China has so much history. Okay, so we'll be talking about that at 10 o'clock tomorrow on the new Graham Hughes Travels channel, which I haven't put a link down below for because I'm an idiot. But if you would find it, maybe type in Graham Hughes Travels, sign up to my new channel and subscribe and hit the bell notification icon. It will tell you when I go live. And yes, thank you very much for watching. Kisses, Graham. Thank you very much, David, for the kisses. They should do time, not money. Indeed. That's a very good point, Richard. Fixed penalty speeding ticket isn't even a misdemeanor. Breaking COVID rules is a crime. Well, there you go. But also, unless you hit someone, speeding is not killing anyone. By having these parties, the Tories killed people. They killed people because they weren't giving 100% of their time trying to fight this fucking virus. That's what they should have been doing. But they weren't. Do you know why? Because they were making money. They were too busy having parties and making money out of a national crisis. Gobshites. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'll say, just to let you know, the Discord server is slowly coming online. I've not used it yet, but we will be using it hopefully after China tomorrow. Hughes the World at 10 o'clock, so we'll be there around 11 o'clock or something like that. We should be able to go over there and have the first sort of chat on the new Discord server. So the invites will be going out to the YouTube members today, this afternoon, if I remember. Maybe someone should remind me. I think I've only got 5, so it shouldn't take too long. Anyway, so yes, and if you do want to sponsor me on using YouTube membership or if you want to throw me a super chat just quickly before I go, you have to be quick. Or if you'd like to become my patron and patronise the shit out of me, please do. And I'll be very, very grateful. It's only £3 a month. It's the same as a cup of coffee. Once a month, a cup of coffee, or me. There's your options. Option choice, really, isn't it? Anyway, so thanks very much for watching. And until tomorrow, don't be a cunt. And hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.